Welcome back to the channel, Real Repairs for Real Customers. If you recall, last time we had the red sofa cushions, and we discussed how any amount of flattener or duller could affect the intensity of our deep red pigment. In fact, before delivery, I realized I hadn't done the underside of the cushions, but all is good because everything matches well. And while we are on the subject of the flattener, I thought it would be good to carry that over into our discussion this time, where we are going to recolor some leather aircraft tables. Now, these are some aircraft tables that I have done in the past, and just to show you that this is a very common theme for us, because replacing the leather in these panels is kind of dangerous because you chance scratching up the real fine finish on the wood. So to avoid that, oftentimes we get asked just to recolor the leather. And of course, cleaning is step number one, as always. We're using a gray scuff pad here, but of course we have to be very careful not to scratch up the wood, since that's the whole reason that we're doing this project anyway. We're very aggressive with our cleaning. As we mentioned last time, we're not interested in any kind of maintenance type cleaning. And of course, we follow up with a alcohol-based cleaner to prep with. It will get all the cleaner residue and also tack up the surface of the leather just a little bit. Now on masking, we want to do a really close job of masking with some good quality tape. As you see here, we want to get a very straight line, and so if you've ever pinstriped a car, you know that you hold the roll of pinstriping a couple feet beyond the end of the fender so that you get a nice straight line on the fender. It's the same way with masking. When you want a straight line, you hold the tape way beyond the piece, and then you can orient that tape right down the line just nice and straight. And then I'm using my guitar pick to embed the edge of that masking tape down in the groove a little bit. This is so important to be very precise here. Now our target color is black, but of course you know black is not just black. We have to take a look at the sheen of that black and adjust. Now our first spray out may look good from the face, but on the flop it looks too shiny. And so this is why we need to make the adjustment based on the flop. And with the flattener added, it looks good on the face and on the flop or side view. And just to add here, if we were mixing a dark gray, say a charcoal type of color, and it had a flat or a matte finish, we want to add the flattener first, adjusting the sheen before adjusting either the value or the color. It could very well be that the flattener itself will bring you close to your target. So adjusting it in this manner might help you to avoid having to adjust the color and the value twice. Now the first coat is a tack coat. It's not intended to cover. You still want to see the original leather color through this tack coat. It's not a full coat. This coat will actually affect how our first full coat lies down and could therefore be thought of as contributing to a high energy surface. So when you're doing a color change, as we are here, you may as well plan on 3 coats. And since we're going to have multiple coats, it's not a bad idea to change the orientation of your spray pattern from one direction to the other, and even a diagonal, just to avoid any paint lines. We're not spraying a heavy coat here. We're just interested in getting a nicely atomized coat, but just a thin coat. And when that's dried down, we can see whether we need to go another light coat. And here again, if we need to uniform the appearance of the final color, we can go a little faster with overlapping coats just to try to give everything that nice uniform coverage. Now while this is drying, I am preparing my clear. Now my clear has to have the same kind of sheen so that we don't disrupt what we've already done. So it needs to be the same kind of a matte finish. Having the base coat the right sheen means that we only need a thin layer of clear. The clear is very important here. There are, of course, drink rails with cup holders in them and cork in the bottom of those to absorb condensation. But that doesn't mean that somebody's not going to set a Coke can on this table. So if the water is going to distort anything in the leather, it's going to be the clear coat. It won't be distorting the pigments. Of course, you don't set a drink on a leather table any more than you would set a drink on a lacquered wood table and leave a white ring. Always pull the masking tape backward against itself to cut the edge as you go. So we worked hard to get a perfect match. Is it perfect? I don't think anything I do is perfect, but let's say perfectly suited. For example, if you were to look at these tables as they are in the plane, they would be separate from the seats. They'd be a bit separate from the drink rails, and looked at it like this, you would say, yes, it's a perfect match. Maybe not perfect in the absolute sense, but perfectly suited for what the customer is looking for. And it's this attention to detail that gets us the work. Thanks for joining in on our discussion, too, as you all have been. I hope you've learned something. Hope you found something that will help you in your work.